So I am autistic, and autistic people tend to have limited interests that are very intense. It's something that is universal to them, that they don't tend to have a lot of breadth of interests. They're not interested so much in that. They like to have their little things that give them comfort and help them stim. And sometimes they can get strange. Sometimes they just seem so bizarre. It's not really, it's weird that they would even like that in the first place. Mine's not so different. It's my fixation, my central fixation is language and language learning and linguistics and stuff like that. My earliest memory was when I was really, really young. We lived in an area that had a lot of different kinds of people. And you could ask them about their languages and eat their food and go over to their house, and talk to the parents that are from a different country or something like that. And it was a very valuable experience to me. But I remember one time when I was probably about 10 years old, my mom brought me to Walmart to go shopping, and she bought something that was electronic. And I saw in the back that there were Chinese characters and Hindi script and stuff like that. And I asked her, I was like, what is this? Like, I just never thought about it before. And she didn't say anything spectacular. It just said, oh, there's, kind of different languages in the world and people speak in different ways. And that was it. That's all it really took to plug me in. And I was very interested in writing systems. And I can write, have pretty fine handwriting in Japanese and stuff like that. I don't speak a word of Japanese, but I do enjoy the calligraphy and stuff like that. Symbols are big with me. And this is just a little bit of backstory, but this video is more about how it's benefited me personally. It's an intensive hobby. It's not easy, and it turns off a lot of people for very good reasons. And it's not something that I understood entirely before I started doing it, especially if I'm going to take it to the highest level. Like I'm currently learning French. I'm kind of poking through upper intermediate, and by the time I'm done with school, I should be fluent. And the journey of that did do a lot of things like take me away from time with people. I hate memorizing vocabulary just like everyone else, but I've memorized tens of thousands of words. It's a very difficult thing, and there's a lot of value in just doing difficult things in and of themselves. So you could have your hobby is, the same FPSs and you're just shooting zombies and aliens in the head over and over and over again. And, if that's what you want to do with your time, that's fine. But I just felt like as soon as it started to amplify, the challenge was attractive. It's an attractive aspect of it, and it has given me so much amazing perspective about the world. Language is basically composed of meaning. And if you study languages and you study the structure of them and you apply that to things like maybe philosophy or literature or something, you can see deeper levels of what people say. Especially, I have found that it's very easy for me to cut through propagandistic language when the president or so on, there's a election that's coming up and you listen to what they have to say and they're very substanceless. There's not a lot actually going on in the ways that they can say, and you can actually get out a whiteboard and graph that out as to why the sentence cannot mean what they're leading it to mean, and it cannot substantiate the things that are on their website. It's just a lot of fluff. And I love doing stuff like that. I love very difficult language. Law is very attractive to me because the language aspect is so complicated. To be as precise and as accurate as possible is very attractive to me. But just the and so it's very complex is what I'm saying, and I'm drawn to complexity. But it as far the other things on my channel, I wanted to talk more about things that don't have to do with autism or schizoid personality disorder and stuff like that. But it has helped tremendously with my schizoid personality simply because the goal is to talk to other people. And schizoids do not like to talk to other people. They engage with people as little as possible. Autists are very similar. A lot of autists nowadays have more of a control over their sociability and stuff like that, and that's very good. But I did not. But now a lot of the people that I know, I've met because of this language hobby. I meet them from France and I meet them from Quebec and I meet them from Africa online, and it forces me to have consideration for other people and to include them in my area of consideration. And usually that's very almost toxic to me. I don't like thinking about other people. And yeah, that can sometimes come off as rude, but really it's more fundamental than that. It's not just because I can be rude, it's because I don't like having them within my world. I wish I was alone. But when I was 10 years old and I was renting dictionaries from the library and copying out stuff and learning about language and asking people questions, I wasn't schizoid. I hadn't been traumatized to that degree yet. So when it came to the point when I was, 18 and in college and I didn't have any motivation to be around other people and it was interfering with my ability to communicate with professors, to communicate with work groups, to be perceived as though I have friends, and it just caused a lot of problems. And I feel like language learning, the social aspect of it, was just so amazing for me, and I think that it could work very well for autistic people just because there's a central interest in between you that helps so much. Like, I love tabletop gaming. I love the game more than I love talking to the person across from me, but the element exists in it. It's a way to introduce these things into your life. If you just play video games or you just hang out in your air conditioned bedroom, then you're not. It's not that you're just not pushing boundaries. It's like the atrophying muscles in your legs. You can't walk anymore. You know, you can't socialize anymore. You can't. It impedes, I think, your ability to be human. And language is a human universal. It's something we all grapple with every day, and it is something that just very automatically challenges your thoughts. It's something very fundamental towards language, is that it encapsulates your thoughts. It's the structure that gives meaning to your thoughts, because you can have thoughts that are not encapsulated by language, but the human mind immediately tries to encapsulate it in language so that it could better handle it. It structures the idea. That's why we have all these new neologisms. Neologisms? I don't really know how to pronounce it, but neologisms like smartphone or whatever it is. You read at some point someone was sitting down and it's like, I have this idea and we're going to move forward with this. What should we call it? Right? You have to have a name. That's what I'm saying. And wouldn't be able to understand a lot of the world if I didn't have a more sophisticated understanding of language. And it's very difficult to look at people who do not take language seriously, and you can't really understand them very well. They get frustrated easily. They don't. Their mind can't penetrate into thoughts that they haven't already considered because they don't have the language for it. And I think that's so amazingly difficult for people to adopt the perspective of another person if they can't really use even their native language very well. And in the United States, English has a lot of fine points. Okay, there's a lot of irregularity. There's a lot of strangeness about the writing system and ways that you can phrase things to make it as precise and accurate as possible, or to just resort to the easier version of the thing that doesn't mean exactly the same thing, but it's easier to remember. And there's just so many examples of that. And I really, really would support people in the idea to not just do the language learning that is required of them in an American high school, which is not that much. Yes, they go over a lot of the grammar, maybe not to the degree that really is important to be able to speak on a fluent level, to be able to explain yourself in any situation, but it just benefits me so much. I have learned so much, not just by studying it, but through studying it. I can take these lessons to every conversation, to every novel that I read, to every speech that I absorb or lecture that I absorb. I'm always thinking in language. I'm always doing language math, and it's become a necessity for me. I need to view the world through this way, and I just wish I could share it more. Maybe I'll teach in the future or something like that. But there's so much about language. It is a world unto itself, and it has benefited me greatly in socialization, in comprehending the world around me, in absorbing art and great works. Like, I really can't emphasize enough how important language learning is, and I think it's so terrible that there's not a lot of time left for it in school, and they only resort to languages that are adjacent to the United States specifically. I certainly do that in other countries too, but here you get, Spanish mostly, and then French and maybe a little German. And that's just not enough. There's a famous proverb that to learn another language is to live another life, and a life parallel to your own. And that really has stuck with me because that's what it feels like to me, having done all of this stuff with my particular hobby. So I encourage you to learn languages as well. So here you go, a video about language as opposed to just the darkness of dealing with trauma. I'll get back to that soon, but I really wanted to do this video today. So there you go.